Hello, welcome to Compelled Impact. What if the parts of you that feel messy, emotional, reactive, or tired aren't flaws at all? What if they're actually proof that you survived something that required sometimes very unusual strength that most people will never see? Hi, I'm Gina T, and today I want to talk to you about something we each have but rarely understand: your shadow. And no, I'm not talking about anything dark or scary. In fact, it's nothing to be afraid of. It's better if you face it and deal with it. I'm talking about the parts of you or even your family's generational past that learned how to cope before you were ever before you ever learned how to feel safe. If you've ever asked, why do I shut down? Why do I overthink or want to run away? Or why do I keep protecting myself even when nothing's wrong? Then this video is for you. Your shadow is a survival strategy that apparently works because you're still here. Most of us didn't grow up learning how to slow down, how to really feel our feelings, or ask for what we needed. We did learn how to function, even through the dysfunction. We learned how to stay busy, how to be strong, how to push through, to not make waves, and get with the program. So, your nervous system did something brilliant. It adapted. It helped you get through those times. Your shadow is simply the version of you that learned how to survive before you learned how to thrive. This is why when you get triggered, you freeze, go numb, and people please, and probably some other things as well. You learned to do this one step at a time until it became the only way to survive. That is not weakness. It's survival intelligence from an earlier season of your life. The problem isn't that you have a shadow. The problem is that you and everyone around you have begun to accept it as your identity. It is absolutely not who you are. It's what you learned to be to survive. An important side note to remember: it took years to become proficient at this protection game, which will make sense when it will also take time to fully recover from it so that your real identity can genuinely radiate your truth. And it is possible, it can happen. A lot of us have already been through it or are still going through it, but we see it. We see the blessings of the abundance, the atmosphere that we feel of abundance once we start working on our shadow. For most of my life, I thought being strong meant staying productive and doing all the things. In fact, I saw this example where I learned I would finally be of any value to anyone. I didn't notice I was responding from a learned memory instead of being in the moment. Any stress I encountered, I'd shut down. Conflict, I'd disconnect. And when faced with pressure, I'd do my best to handle the problem, but my protection response was actually to go numb. One day I realized that my shadow self wasn't attacking me, it was trying to keep me safe. When I stopped judging it and feeling less than, I started understanding it. Understanding creates choice and options. Triggers are information. Here's something important to know: your triggers are not shameful, they are information. Just like pain in your body tells you something needs attention, your emotional reactions tell you something inside wants care, not criticism. Your patterns aren't flaws, they're old solutions that helped you once. As this is encouraging, as this encouraging thought reveals, what brought you to this point will not necessarily get you through the next phase. When you begin consciously noticing your reaction to triggers and it becomes an annoying part of how you cope, that's a good thing. I know you're probably wondering, what is wrong with me? I can't do this like I used to do. Well, good. You shouldn't, because it actually means that you're beginning to heal enough to see the gunk and the junk that you've been living in. Your pain doesn't mean you're broken. It means that you have endured. When you stop saying, I'm only valuable if I perform, if I fix or prove myself, and start saying, I am valuable because I'm conscious, growing, and aligned, something shifts. Your shadow stops running you and starts teaching you. There's one gentle thing that you can do today. When you feel triggered, pause and ask, what is this part of me trying to protect? It's not a time to fix, judge, or analyze. Just listen. Listen to your heart, to your thoughts and your feelings. Respond. And they will. Maybe not right away, because if you're just new at this, it's kind of hard to recognize when they do respond. But they will. And you will start seeing things differently. Your perspective, your whole perspective will change on yourself and your life. You'll begin turning a reaction into a relationship with yourself. That's how healing begins. I know as a person who prays, we can pray for healing, but if we don't do our part, if we're not part of that process and we don't learn something in the process, then it's not something that we value as much as we do when we are part of the process, when we actually take action toward it. This is personal responsibility for your journey and exactly what I do in my mentoring work. I help women reconnect with their nervous system, with their story, and their spiritual identity, not by forcing change, but by creating safety for awareness. We don't erase the past, you integrate it. So instead of living from protection, you start living from presence, confidence, and sovereignty. If you're ready to stop fighting yourself and start understanding yourself, I'd love to walk that part of your path with you. Here's the thing is that it comes from us. It comes from our brain the brain is trying to protect you. And you feel stuck because you can't get past that part of what you actually own, of who you are. And I know for years, no one actually ever said anything like this. And it just took a lot of research and studying to get to this point. I know I'm not the only one talking about it. There are a lot of people talking about this now, which is wonderful and amazing. So find the person that works for you, the person whose words and voice you can actually listen to, because it might not be me. Anyway, that will help you get from where you are right now. And if you're feeling stuck, this is what happens from where you are right now in a stuck place to where you want to be in abundance. It's not a destination. It's a new lifestyle. And this is the same no matter what you believe, no matter what your faith is. It's the same for anyone because it's the human makeup. It's how we're made. And that's part of the miracle. That's part of the masterpiece of who you are. Your shadow is not a problem. It's your proof of survival. When you choose to meet it with compassion, it becomes the doorway to calm, confidence, and spiritual strength. I'll talk about this a little bit more in the next, at least one video, maybe two. Um, if this spoke to you, like, subscribe, and share it with someone who's ready to move from coping into conscious living. I'd love to read and respond to your comments on how this helps you. Um, and so go ahead and leave a comment. It's better if you do that because then other people can can relate to what you're saying as well. I love you for listening and for taking bold actions toward your growth and transformation. I believe in you. I know you can do this. If I can do it where I was at, um, probably under the biggest wave you could think of, and couldn't get out, um, anyone can do this. So check the show notes to connect and for more information. And until next time, live excellently, give generously, and love lavishly. Thanks for being here. Love you. Bye. Mwah.